Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. So, today we have a guest with us. Arthur Blyakher is one of the attorneys that we've both worked with before, and I'll give him a chance to introduce himself a little bit more. But I wanted to introduce a bit of our topic today. We're going to talk about insurance and how it pertains to business owners, what insurance is very, very important, and what we've seen over the years become much more of a required insurance or even a desired insurance by a business owner. So I know about 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, that most of my clients would obtain your very, very simple general commercial liability insurance. And everyone was familiar with things like their car insurance. And if they were ever told about a specific type of insurance by their insurance broker, like a cyber law policy or a financial transaction security insurance or employment insurance, that it was seen as if the insurance broker is just trying to make a little bit more money to put on an add-on. And then as we've seen these cases grow over the years, a lot of policies that we've looked through, sometimes when we'll have a new employment case on behalf of the company come in, the first thing I ask is, do you have an EPLI, employment practices insurance? And more than 50% of my clients today do. And I know a lot of clients are also asking for D&O, director and owner's insurance, which might protect from certain harassment claims, and so on in the company. And coupled together with what we've talked about in the past, making sure that you have all these policies together and also having this insurance will really hedge against some of the concerns and some of the worries that business owners may face that could have catastrophic costs associated with them, even if it's just the cost of defending the action and just having to have an attorney retained to do so. So, Arthur, I actually want to throw this over to you because as a personal injury attorney, I know that you're on the other side of it. So you can actually provide us with that insight of what have you seen on your end that some of the, what would be our clients and business owners, what have they done incorrectly? What have they not looked ahead to that got them in trouble?
Yes, well, thank you. So as I already said, I'm Arthur Blyakher. I've been working in the personal injury field for 21 years now. Started off as a file clerk when I was 15, now a partner at the Edelsteins, Fagenberg, and Blyakher. So I have a little bit of experience with this because 99.9% of my business is suing insurance companies. And I cannot stress this enough. Do not cheap out on insurance. There's insurance that you have to have. There's insurance that you could have or should have. Get it all. Much better to be overinsured than underinsured. You brought up workers' comp. That's a huge one. That's usually a problem for me. I can't sue people that are responsible for other people getting hurt because it's often an employer. And workers' comp, the law in New York is you cannot sue your employer except in very, very strict and limited circumstances. That being, there is no workers' comp insurance. If you do not maintain workers' comp insurance, you are exposing yourself to a, I don't even want to say headache. It could be the difference between you staying alive and not. Right now, injuries, people get hurt. You see insane verdicts, what we call nuclear verdicts. Just in the past year, my firm has taken a $287 million verdict on a product liability case. Labor law cases where people get hurt on construction sites. The last, we had $36 million settlements. We've had $20 million settlements, and the range is huge, but it's never a problem for the employers because they have workers' comp insurance and we have to look elsewhere. So, but that is the most important thing. Get insurance, have the insurance, maintain it, make sure it's the right insurance. The insurance brokers, they don't always pitch you everything you can have. You got to talk to them. You got to ask them, what options, what can I have to make sure all of my bases are covered? What about this scenario? even the most obscure scenarios, you should contemplate as a business owner. Because that's going to be the area where someone like me sends you a letter and say, you owe my client millions of dollars. So
And it's interesting that back in the day, a insurance broker offering something more than just the minimum was always seen as, oh, they're just trying to sell me on something. They're just trying to get more money. Whereas your recommendation, as you said, was actually ask them for more, tell them a little more about the business so that you can obtain more insurance, which is such a change, and that goes in line with, what we were saying, such a change from years ago.
So you don't want to be in a fight with your insurance company because they're going to say, well, this event, this scenario isn't covered. You don't want that. And I see that often. I also see situations where if you have the insurance and for some stupid reason you choose not to put them on notice of a potential liability, you wait and see, well, maybe this will go away. Maybe I could get out of this for cheap. And then, the case doesn't go as you thought. And now it's a year, 2 years down the line, and you realize, holy crap, I'm exposed. Let me call my insurance company now. Well, now it's too late. Now they disclaim because you didn't timely report it to them, and you're stuck, paying the bill for what could be millions, multi-million dollar, liability claims.
And that's it. And again, really interesting just to spend that time with the insurance broker to make sure that it's really a crucial part of the business. I know even for myself, when we have a renewal, they never come at the right time, naturally, as you can imagine. And so it's always, all right, chop, chop, let's get it done. Yes, renew, and that's it. But it is important to carve that out. And it's always a reminder, even to myself, even when I've seen the benefit to my clients. What I wanted to turn to is in line with what we've been talking about so far is this concern that clients have. And we've talked about this with Jane in the past when it comes to whenever we tell clients about policies. And I'm always reluctant for the same reasons to tell clients, well, you need a new overhaul of employment policies, for example. As soon as I say that, I always feel like this example that I gave with the insurance broker. I don't want a client to ever think that we're just trying to tell them they need something just so that we can charge for it. But in reality today, if it's not documented, it's a problem. But cost is always a concern as a business expands, even if it's a additional expense to add on an insurance over something that they did not have the prior year in a very established business. Everyone's trying to fight for against the extra expenses. So, Jane, I wanted to ask you and hear a little bit about what you've seen your clients either talk about or do when it comes to that additional expense and cost, and trying to hedge that risk with insurance, but also minimize the cost.
Right. Thank you. Actually, for us, budgeting for insurances is something that's easier to predict. So a lot of the clients are now getting, insurance against employer theft. We're getting cybersecurity insurance. We're getting, and obviously workers' compensation. Once we're starting to work with the client, this is a mandatory insurance, and we will not take them on as clients if they don't have that insurance. And once they work with us, we do bookkeeping. It's very easy to do the audit for these insurances because we have all the payroll records, we have their filings, we have their 1099s for subcontractors because all of this is essential. We don't want to have, we had many situations with the clients where they have issues with their employees and they're questioning, oh, they paid me as a 1099. I should have been an employee, vice versa. And there's many different things that are employees questioning. Once you're a business owner, you're almost a target and you want to be protected. So when we're budgeting for certain expenses, we always kind of take on, like Arthur said, something that's over-insure. So we're trying to do that on our budgeting list, and we're making sure that they are covered enough. We're definitely suggesting for them to take on all of these insurances, and we've seen that it has helped, and I think everybody's open to it.
Now,
Absolutely. And I will say also that, Arthur, you're probably really happy when there is insurance because there's actually already a set out plan, right? I'm certain that it's never, you're not looking to go after, let's say, the business owner that's uninsured, right? It's to find and make sure that there is that coverage for a client of yours to make sure that they are made whole or to the extent that it's possible. So there's always a hope that there is that extra insurance. And it really, everybody's on essentially on the same page about that. And when there is that disclaimer, whether it's because the coverage wasn't there, again, they always end up going right back to, Jade, I'm sure that they end up saying, well, it probably wouldn't have been that big of an expense. We could have budgeted for it. We could have hedged against it. It would have been much better if we had that. And I'm sure you prefer, Arthur, to work with insurances as well. There's a set out process for it.
It's a nightmare. The last thing I want to hear is that insurance is claimed or there's no insurance. It's part of doing business, and with insurance companies and their attorneys, it's just a business transaction. It's easier to deal with. Any litigation, whether it's divorce or a personal injury case, when you take out the emotion and the principle involved and you treat it like a business transaction, it's easier and it's fairer. That's where you get to a fair result. Because you take out all the nonsense that shouldn't be part of the consideration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I really would like to encourage our clients, and Arthur, I want to thank you for joining us today, because I think this is really, really important for our clients from a cost aspect, from that aspect. When you are rushing just to sign up with the same policy you had last year, usually there's that audit that everybody does once a year for whatever policy they have, and they give them a new quote for the next year. And sometimes by doing that, you could just avoid talking to the broker altogether. But hopefully some of the things that we've mentioned today, even just quickly said, the employment policies or cyber law policies, employee theft policies, workers comp that Arthur was talking about, hopefully some of these things come up. And if this is something that's new, or perhaps insurance that you didn't know that you had, definitely please speak with the broker, make that time to talk to them. And we've found, again, that this misconception that any offered insurance is just this sales tactic actually has been found to be very much not true. And a lot of the insurance can really come in and save the day. I did also, last thing I want to bring up, we had a couple of clients when COVID hit that had business interruption insurance. And for the most part, who would get business interruption insurance because who thought of it then? And it was a decent cost as well for these clients specifically, and it goes based on how much you make. But I could tell you that those clients are around today because they had that insurance. And I know currently there are a lot of other clients that have put it in their budget, and business interruption insurance is just one of those that they added to it right away. So just something to keep in mind for the future. But we'll make sure to add in all of our contact information and Arthur's as well. So if there are any questions, as always, please feel free, reach out to us. We'll put in our websites and our phone numbers as well.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Irene.
Thank you.
Everyone.